right, welcome back to the Remedial Film Class Podcast. I'm your host, Dan.
And I'm Travis.
And I'm George.
Hey, George.
Yes, sir.
What's your favorite scary movie? We asked you this last week, and you had no idea what we were talking about.
Is Silence of the Lambs a scary movie?
Did it scare you?
Not
For
really.
some people.
Would it scare my mom?
Maybe.
Then it probably is.
All right,
It's
well,
a
then that's
more of
my
a thriller.
favorite. Yeah.
But it's disturbing.
I don't know. Maybe I haven't seen my favorite scary movie yet.
You will pretty soon. I have a feeling by the end of season 3, we will have scared George at least once. I hope.
I'm gonna say 3 times, but yeah, once is a goal.
Nothing is like that first very end of Friday the 13th.
Oh.
Well, you
very
you have
end is
to
nothing
figure
like
out
that.
what it is that scares you. Like for me, growing up, I was never scared of horror movies. Never scared of horror movies, but supernatural stuff scared me. So it was like if a movie was supernatural, not super like wizards and witches and stuff, but like demonic, that used to bother me. So you just gotta find what it is that makes you scared. Like I slept in the basement. My bedroom was in the basement, and I don't think I touched maybe 3 steps coming upstairs from my bed to go upstairs when it's all dark. Like you just feel like you're being watched. You feel like when you watch movies that deal with ghosts or possession,
Okay.
it always happens in the basement.
Well, your house was a den of sin,
Yes.
according to my parents, because of all those movies that you watched.
Yeah. Yeah, it tainted me for life.
For those who don't know, Travis is married to my sister. At one point, they were dating, and my parents were like, no, his house is a den of sin because he watches those movies. Now here I am, like, watching all those movies.
Here you
so
are.
they must be proud.
We're going to have to cut that out.
Someday,
Why?
George is going to be walking out to his car, and a van's going to show up, and he's going to get a bag thrown over his head and disappeared for a little while.
You help me put this couch in my van?
The next episode, he's
Dude.
going to be like, I didn't watch the movie because I'm quitting the podcast.
Right. He's been brainwashed.
That will not happen. Who posted the meme? It was like a roses are red, violets are blue thing.
Me.
But how did it go again? It was
It
like,
was Jamie Gum. Roses are red, violets are green. Help me with this chair. Are you a size 14?
So good.
And I'm Mrs. Lippman's son.
Allegedly. I don't know.
Allegedly.
allegedly,
Still not.
reportedly.
I still got to read the book to see if
Jury's
I can.
out.
I'm sure there's a wiki out there. I think I've said that before. I need to just ever take 10 minutes and
No, we just need to get Ted Levine on the show and just ask him.
call Thomas Harris. Hey, Tommy, what's up?
Yeah.
I like 2 of your books.
I liked
3.
One and a
3 of
half.
your books. I like
3
3 of his books.
All right.
So anyway, scary movies are fun. They're really popular in the 80s. And then by the early 90s, they were gone because they ran out of ideas. And then
That's a shame.
Enter Kevin Williamson.
I don't want to wait for the Reaper to kill me, and I want to know right now, what would it mean?
Hey, that was a good show back then.
He used to walk his dog with Katie Couric.
Yes.
What's up?
I don't think George ever saw.
I don't know. I don't know what any of those.
Kevin Williamson, the writer of this movie, was like his fame was from like a 90s TV show, kind of like Saved by the Bell meets ER.
Red Shoe
meets
Diaries,
Red
like-
Shoe Diaries. Like it was just like, I guess maybe like Gilmore Girls or
Yeah, it was pre-Gilmore Girls.
yeah.
But I mean, like, it was
like
proto-Gilmore Girls. It was very much the same
What
feel.
was the show?
it was just like these 4 teenagers in this small
Well,
mountain
what was
town,
it called?
Dawson's Creek.
Okay, that's all right.
That was
and
a
that's the
very,
theme song you were just singing,
Yeah.
right?
very
Okay,
controversial
all right.
show for 1995 or whenever it came
Yeah.
out.
Okay, you were singing that song, and he's talking about the show, and I'm like, I know this show. It's in the deepest recesses of my brain. Like it's buried in there. That's why I'm like, what was it called? Tell me what it was called. No, I remember it. I never watched it.
Katie Holmes, gave Tom Cruise Katie Holmes.
Yeah, I never watched it, but I know of it.
It's a good show.
So
anyway,
1998.
So he wrote this.
Yes.
Cool.
Hold on though. If that came out in 1998, and Scream came out, what year did Scream come out? I thought it was 96. 96. So the Scream actually predates Dawson's Creek. What? What? Then what did Kevin Williams? See, my narrative was always that he got the fame and accolades for Dawson, and then he came out with Scream. But maybe my story has been no. He did Scream. I Know What You Did Last Summer, Scream 2, and The Faculty, all before he did Dawson's Creek.
Wow. Was he involved in Party of Five at all? Because Party of Five kind of came from that same mold, and obviously that came before Scream.
No.
Neve Campbell was established when she made this movie.
I think this movie is how he gets on the scene.
Wow.
What?
Well,
wow.
Wes Craven was like, yes, you and I, we're going to do things together.
Now, we've said a lot of things. Have we said that we watched Scream this week?
I don't think we said it yet.
I don't think we said it. You just did. Cat's out of the bag.
It'll be in the
episode description.
Show title.
Yeah. So George watched Scream from 1996, directed by Wes Craven. George, have you ever heard of Wes Craven?
The name is super familiar. And I also, when I saw The Janitor, I was like, I need to know who that was.
That was him.
And it was him. And I was like, oh, okay. I know who, okay. That's a famous person. It's like kind of like the cameo.
There's a few cameos in this movie.
Yeah. Oh, all right, well, that one didn't go over my head. I was like, I know that's someone important.
Okay, before
I looked it up.
Before we judge whether or not that went over your head, let me ask you a question. George.
Go ahead.
So you see the director dressed up all goofy in the hallway.
Yeah.
Is the comedy of the cameo the fact that the director is dressed up funny in the hallway?
No.
What's
He's dressed like Freddy Krueger.
Okay. All right. So okay. I didn't want to assume because it would be
the
even
sweater,
more hilarious if you didn't know.
The sweater's so iconic.
No, I saw Freddy versus Jason right. A million years ago. So I know what Freddy Krueger looks like.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Or what do they say in the movie? A Wes Carpenter movie.
Wes Carpenter, yeah, that was good.
Wes Carpenter.
This movie is meta as F.
Yes.
AF. Meta AF.
Oh, can I share my notes with you? I took
oh no, it's notes day. Okay, George. Hit us with those notes.
They're in a marble notebook.
Okay, so first off, couple of thoughts. Drew Barrymore. Ugh. Okay, the killer on the phone is actually quite scary. Pre-podcast me would have been so dead if the category was scary movie trivia.
Yes. You would have been like, Steve.
Chair through the window. Yes. Kill Drew Barrymore already. I can't take her anymore.
A lot of hate for Drew Barrymore.
Thank God I don't have to watch Drew Barrymore this entire movie. But seriously, she looks like the final girl from Friday the 13th, which I guess is purposefully done.
Everything's purposefully done. Yes.
Well, I'm just like 5 minutes into this movie at this point. Sydney the Virgin, I think we found our final girl. Again, I'm like 5 minutes into this movie so far.
Yeah, this is a tropey
dude.
movie.
I don't know why, but in caps I wrote, even worse than what? Oh, because she says it's even worse than, and then she doesn't say anything.
Right.
I was like, even worse than what?
The death of her
That just means
I was like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that just means the movie's working if it makes you want to know more.
Right. Arthur Fonzarelli.
Yes. Hey.
I'm like, deja vu, huh? I'm seriously invested in what the heck they're referring to. Oh, there it is. It's like, they got to that pretty quick.
It was a good payoff.
Yeah, they got to it. Okay, so when the killer calls, what's her name? Sydney. I love her description of scary movies. Right?
And then she goes and does the same exact thing.
Yeah,
that's what's funny.
I noticed that she runs up the steps.
She runs her up the steps.
Oh man, but that was cool how she was like, "I'm calling your bluff. I'm on the porch." Like, I was like,
Well, they take the cue of like Sigourney Weaver. They're going to make a strong woman. It's still going to be tropey, and it's still going to be everything you expect.
Right.
But she's at least ahead of the game.
They almost like in this. Okay, this isn't in my notes, but like they almost like they follow the formula, but then they also buck the formula.
Mm-hmm.
Like
That's why it's a reboot of an entire
okay, yeah,
genre.
it's good. All right, so anyway, wow, Billy's lawyer sucks. Oh my God, is Fonzie the killer? Oh my God, the janitor. Okay, it's not Fonzie. I think that was the scene where he got
Or is
sliced.
There is a leather jacket in the closet.
Okay, I just wrote video store scene.
Yes.
The video store scene.
Classic. We watched it like 5 times. Gabe just kept laughing.
Dude, there was a bunch of parts where I like rewound it just like a couple of like 30 seconds to watch something again. Lots of times in this movie. The video scene that's when like the nerd, I forget his name, Randy starts freaking out about like the formula.
Right.
And I was like, okay, this guy.
I just called him Dan the whole movie.
This guy. I'm like, this guy gets it. And anyway, but yeah, that was funny.
My sister and I. All right, we'll let you do your
Okay.
notes.
They referenced Town That Dreaded Sundown.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Grab Me a Beer.
Mm-hmm.
Cat jump scare. This movie has everything.
It has quite a bit, yeah.
Yo, so okay, so the scene when what's her name? Garage door, cat door girl.
Tatum.
When the killer goes back to the door and just opens it and it's unlocked. I'm like, yo, that's funny.
Honestly, that scene when she's like, "What? You're gonna do this?" and he's just like, "Mm-hmm."
Yes.
Like, he's just
The
nodding.
nodding
my
killer
God.
is so funny.
I love that.
He's like, it's like, is that you? What's it? He's just like nodding. No,
Mm-hmm.
no, shaking his head.
But he
no.
just tilts his head and he's like,
And it's like, you want to play Psycho Killer? And he's like, yes. It's like, oh God. But then I love her too. She's like, no, don't kill me. I want to
Yeah.
be in the sequel. I'm
I mean,
like,
she was kind of a strong character too. So.
yeah.
But
So, good
again,
scene.
tropey. They
Yeah.
still do the tropey thing.
Yeah, very. Yeah. Okay. Yo, Billy is showing up at super awkward times.
Purposely.
Okay.
They should have called this movie The Red Herring. Because everybody's guilty.
All right. So this movie, this movie is beautiful. The final half hour playing out as the nerd dude is explaining the rules. Beautiful. Did not see that ending coming. Final thoughts. This movie knows exactly what it is. Would have been better with some boobs.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
This movie knows what it is.
Yeah.
And now, because
And
of
I
all
have-
of our extensive slasher research, you know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen every scary movie,
No,
but like I
you've
knew
seen the ones.
exactly.
What's
what they're
funny is
doing.
when we started this thing and we did Psycho and then we wanted to work our way to Halloween and then we decided we're going to do the fall break
Mhm.
with Jason. I realized we're just doing all this so we can watch Scream. Like, because, this movie's good when you don't know all that stuff.
That's
And
better
there's a
when you
lot
do.
of things that you didn't even catch that
I'm sure.
we're going to talk about.
I'm sure.
But I love your notes because, yeah.
It's a good movie, man.
Can you imagine 1996 Travis watching this movie?
I can.
I was like, I wouldn't shut up. Like it was an employee screening, so there was only like 10 of us in the theater, and we're all just we're cheering. We're like yes, yes, thank you. Like we were just replying to things and pointing out stuff. It was such a good. I think we watched it twice in one night.
It's that kind of movie, man.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that 1996 Travis was like, Linda Blair!
Yes.
Because that's amazing that they snuck her in
Yeah.
there. George doesn't know who that
yeah.
is yet, but he will.
Right.
Linda Blair.
Someday.
One of the reporters.
Yeah,
was a
really
cameo.
shrieky, obnoxious reporter. She's also in stuff. You'll see her someday.
She's in stuff.
She's pretty good.
She's kind of a horror
She's in
icon.
Things, stuff.
Things and stuff. Yeah.
I love the
I'm glad you liked it.
I love the attitude of the movie. Like, it's still going for scary. You know, it's almost malicious. Like, it's more malicious than a lot of our slasher movies we've watched. But at the same time, it's kind of billed as a comedy. So the audience is coming in like, ha 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 ha, we're going to laugh at slasher movies. And then by the end, they're just like, oh, I don't know if that part's funny.
What's funny is at the beginning they set it up that way. And I think the Scary Movie parody makes fun of that, how funny this movie is. But like I wrote down, one of my first notes was, because I want to know who I'm looking at. When he says that, that's when it changes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it's all like, ha 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 ha. Oh, that's the one with the knife. No, yeah. Oh, the Freddy with the fingers, and then he's like, I want to know who I'm looking at.
How did they get Drew Barrymore to do 5 minutes in a movie?
It's the whole Psycho thing. They basically did the Janet Leigh from Psycho.
Yeah, but
bait
how did
and
they
switch.
get her to do it?
They paid her good money. They put her all over the posters. They basically said, because she was big then. Like, she was 1996. It was like around Charlie's Angels. Like, it was. She was a big star, and she's dead in the first 7 minutes of the movie.
Exactly.
Like,
how did they get her to do that? I don't know. It's cool. I mean, I'd love to see Drew Barrymore get murdered, but I mean, I don't understand how they got her to do that. It's cool.
Have you ever seen When a Stranger Calls?
No.
Because it had that feel too. I can't really reference it if you haven't seen it, but it kind of does that whole isolation. Like they really establish, we're out in the middle of nowhere. No one's gonna get to you in time, and that whole with the car driving up the driveway, taking forever, like all that tense suspense.
Yeah,
was ridiculous.
It was actually pretty scary. Like that's why I wrote that. It was like, yo, this is actually kind of scary. Someone calling you and they're watching you and shit. And
now, Dan, when they were doing the question, the first question,
yeah.
Did you notice that they were playing the Halloween theme throughout that whole scene?
Yes, a couple of times they actually score the movie with Halloween playing in the background. They did that later too.
But in the beginning with the Drew Barrymore, it's just real subtle, and it's
like halftime, yeah. And it's not that time. It's not from the TV. It is just the movie itself is doing like a 1/4 time Halloween theme,
right?
Which I guess doing things really slow is a musical like 1996 thing, because not too long after that you've got Don't Fear the Reaper at like a real Paula Cole kind of tempo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is funny. I said to Gabe after the movie was over, I said, during the movie, he's like, they're not showing me who it is. I don't know who it is. I said, they told you like 9 times who it is. You just have to, once you go back, you're going to realize like they were playing Don't Fear the Reaper at the very beginning when he was in her bedroom.
Yeah.
So they were telling you he's the Reaper. He's the killer.
Yeah.
So, and that was very Nightmare on Elm Street. He looks just like Johnny Depp. Like there was just a lot of homages to which you haven't seen yet.
He also looked a lot like the guy that she put away,
yes.
Eyewitness.
She very much looked like the guy that got Corbin or whatever they put away for killing her mom.
Yes. Yeah, I noticed that. I was like, she like swore that she saw this Corbin guy. And when they actually show the Corbin guy, I'm like, oh, he looks a lot like Billy. I'm like, I bet it's Billy.
It's a very young Liv Schreiber.
I thought lots of times during this movie that like, oh, I bet that makes sense. It's this person or it's that person. I thought that a bunch of times.
Well, they were basically saying everybody is doing. Even the police chief, they show his black shoes at some point where it's like, oh, well,
yeah.
Is it Dewey? Is it this? Is it that? It's Fonzie. Fonzie's the killer. No, he's
all over
not.
The place.
The 2 kids that he yells at in his office. Maybe they're one of them.
And the killer kills Billy.
Right.
And you're totally fucked.
Yeah.
What the heck is going on? You're sure it's Billy.
And
then the killer kills Billy.
What's amazing is, up until that exact moment, they're building Billy up so obviously that he becomes your red herring.
Mm-hmm.
And then he kills Billy, and you're like, okay, great, he was the red herring, but oh god, wait, hold on. Who's the killer now? Because they're really...
Yeah, who the heck is the killer?
They're doing the Agatha Christie, like, and then there were none thing, where everybody's a suspect until they get knocked off, and then they're no longer a suspect. But then they cheat the Agatha Christie thing, and they cheat your red herring expectations by killing Billy, Oh, but it's a fake kill. Oh, but there's two killers. Like that's the key to the whole thing that makes this better than so many of its 70s Jalo companions, where they basically stick to a boring formula and then give you a killer that's kind of obvious by the end. And instead you've got a really nice little bait and switch. Oh, it's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So all the way back to the Drew Barrymore scene. Dan, did you catch that when her parents came home and they were in the house, he says, go down to the Mackenzie's house, call the police.
I did notice that.
I noticed that, but I didn't get the reference.
That's what Laurie Strode says to the two kids when Myers is in the house and she thinks he's dead. And she gets them out of the bedroom.
Mackenzie's
She's like,
in Halloween?
yeah, she's like, I want you to go downstairs.
And out the front door.
Go across the street
I
to the
wanna go down the
Mackenzie's
street to the
house.
Mackenzie's
Call
house.
the police.
Pretty
I
Like,
want you to
cool.
tell them to call the police.
there's so many references that, like, I remember smiling
Mhm.
watching this movie every single time they reference Halloween. And at the very end, or the party, they basically that was my only problem with this movie. It was out of the editing of the movie screwed up the progression of the Halloween movie.
Oh, yeah.
On the TV.
Yeah.
So I'm watching, I'm like, wait, he broke into the closet a half hour ago. Now he's shaking the door again.
Right,
but
yeah,
that's just because I'm a geek.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's really
So
interesting that of all the slasher movies that they kind of, name check in this movie, the actual progression of the action in the movie really just boils down to some Nightmare on Elm Street and a ton of Halloween.
mm-hmm.
And Wes Craven,
like
I would expect a lot more Friday the 13th out of him because him and Cunningham were buddies back in the day. Like, I would have expected him to pay more, homage to the Friday the 13th stuff. And really, aside from the thing at the beginning, this is a Halloween show. It's very strange. But I mean, it makes sense, right, in the progression of the things. But still.
It has a lot of Psycho in it, too. Like, Billy references Psycho a lot.
Yeah.
Like, he says Norman Bates, but even, like, the whole mentality of he's like Tommy Jason. He's got PTSD to the nth degree. Like, he's just, like, ridiculous. They've always told the story where she should be the killer because she's so traumatized.
Well, then she dons the costume.
Right,
So you
but
get
she
a
never
little
is affected.
Tommy Jason? Tammy Jason? Question mark?
You get a little Tommy Jason.
You could always
I
use a
love the Randy
little bit
character.
more. A little bit more
I
Tommy
didn't
Jason.
I didn't even notice that. That's true.
And his name is Billy Loomis.
Yeah, I know that's a little on the
Loomis.
nose, but
So you get the Loomis.
You
in
know,
there.
it's on the nose, but I didn't even notice it.
Doesn't matter. Everything in
Yeah.
this movie's on the nose. But it's like purposely done. It's funny. I wrote very Nightmare on Elm Street, so it's exactly what Dan was thinking. Like it literally felt like a cleaned up version. And when we watch it, you're gonna sit there and you go, oh my god. Like it's kind of like Westworld, Jurassic Park. Wes Craven, 15, 20 years later, 15 years. He's like, I got more money, got a better cast, cameras are better,
really
locations are better.
the one building block that we didn't give George, and I don't regret, because obviously it worked, right? This movie worked for George, but he's never seen a verbal killer. There's a couple of movies besides Nightmare that I can think of that have a really effective verbal taunting killer, but Nightmare on Elm Street really is, if not the prototype, it's definitely the most effective model for that killer up until this movie. I think this one does it better.
Well, I guess maybe Chucky. I was never a fan of Chucky, but he was mouthy.
Maybe that's why I thought that the killer calling on the telephone and I thought that was like actually kind of unsettling. That was scary. And it's the first time I've actually heard a killer talk. I didn't even realize it.
Yeah, and
Except for like Pam Voorhees, but
and it's well written. Like that when he says to her, I want to know who I'm looking at. And she's like, what? And he goes, I want to know who I'm talking to. Like, it's just kind of like, boom, little things. And then when he finally says, I want to know what your insides look like. Like, it's just like, it just gets to, it's like escalation.
Yeah.
And the voice is so good. And it basically embodies both Billy and Stu. Because he's funny. He's maniacal. He's zero tact. but then he pulls it back when he has to. Like, to me, that's one of my favorite parts of the movie is the phone call.
Yeah.
And I mean, the cast. I don't think there's a weak link in this movie.
This is the
I did
cast
thi-
you've been waiting for, Travis. In all these movies,
Yes.
they finally give you a cast made up of people who've acted before.
Well, it goes back to that video store scene. I'm just like, Matthew Lillard is like just killing it. He's earning his paycheck. He's still like just everything he says, every little nuance, his eye looks, his behavior. I'm like, is he like? I already know he's the killer, and they're purposely making him look like he's the killer. Like, it's almost like they're throwing it right in your face because they know at the end they're going to throw you off.
Right.
It's good stuff. You think she'll date me?
Oh,
No,
God.
no, no, I don't. So good. My sister and I still do that. Okay, like we do that all the time. Whenever someone says something stupid, we're like, okay. You hit me with a phone, you dick. Like, just he has so many good one-liners.
I still can't believe that Courtney Cox married David Arquette.
They had good chemistry.
Did they? I don't know, man. I still don't
You
get
can
it.
tell. You can tell there was something there.
I don't know.
Because both characters are so hollow, but they kind of, I don't know. There was definitely sparks there.
Who and who?
The reporter and the cop. Gail Weathers.
And Dewey.
Dewey.
Dewey with his terrible finger on the gun
Deputy Dewey.
discipline. No trigger discipline in Dewey.
I saw that. I was like, oh my God, he's going to kill
He's
somebody.
going to shoot somebody.
Mm.
Jeez. Get that finger out of the trigger hole.
I love when he picks up the phone. He's like, hello. Like, what are you going to do?
He's like a kid trying to call school and say
He
he's
is.
not coming in today. This is Mr. Smith. But Billy's got a little bit of a tummy ache. He's going to stay home.
Did you notice that I said nappy when I was watching a movie? They took the tropey nap. Neve Campbell's character.
Oh God, yes,
She
she
took the
did.
nap.
She took a nap.
Oh, man. Why?
You got the chair through the window
Yeah.
twice. No.
Jeez.
Is there two chairs through the windows? I know she goes out the attic
There's
window.
a bunch of things through the window.
Yeah. She falls out into the boat, so she goes out the window.
Yep. She gets thrown out the window, kind of.
But then you get new stuff like beer bottles to the balls.
I did enjoy beer bottles to the balls. It seemed very Sharon Stone from Total Recall.
Yeah. And let's face it, you're no Sharon Stone.
What is this movie's deal with Sharon Stone? That's one thing in
I
my
don't
like
know.
negative category. They name check her like 4 times.
Well, I think, when did Basic Instinct come out? Came out like, I think the same year.
I think I should have seen that.
I hear him clicking. He's looking it up.
92.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh,
in the
92, okay.
zeitgeist. It's been around, but it's just strange that like powerful woman in control of her own sexuality, slutty woman, like
Hmm.
any woman character they can think of, the writer just names Sharon Stone. Like, that's kind of gross.
Do you think maybe they were doing, because I know they had that little dialogue in the park where they were saying, you know, it's definitely a guy killer because a woman couldn't do that. Like maybe they were trying to point Tatum or Gail Weathers as being the killer.
There's that clunky one of the 4 references is to her having the capacity to kill. I don't know. I just think it's lazy. I think that's one place this movie falls short.
Because at some point you kind of think, would Gail do this to become famous? Like they were kind of pointing towards that she would either help or have someone help her do this so that she could keep the story going.
Mm.
I kind of get the impression that the writers thought they had done that and then just forgot to do it. Like there's
Right.
enough there that you could be like, yeah, I guess it could be her. But they're not putting any effort into making you believe it. So it fits into the everyone's a suspect. Okay, sure. But, you know, just like the principal, it's like, okay, well, maybe it's him, but it's not. I know right away it's not because they're not giving me enough time with this character for me to develop any of it.
I was pretty sure it was the ambulance driver.
Uh,
That would have been funny.
damn it, Roy.
I thought it was eyebrows.
I thought it was
from,
Ethel.
Eyebrows.
Garbage day.
Oh, jeez.
Eyebrows. Eyebrows from Garbage Day.
We needed eyebrows in this movie to bite it.
Yeah.
A lot of people died in this movie, though.
Yeah.
A lot of them in pretty spectacular ways. And, guys, we finally got guts in a slasher movie. I've been asking for that for 30 years worth of movies.
Yeah, the entrails, which
Ugh.
I don't think they were in the theater version. That was MPAA taken out in the beginning.
Did think that when I was watching this movie, because like you guys talk about the MPAA all the time, and I'm like, this is pretty gory.
Yeah, this is one of those movies where it's like, let's do it all, and when we take stuff out, we get to keep what we wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the rating on this movie? It's got to be PG-13, right?
It's R, dude. You
I
can't
think
have
it's
that
R.
many guts.
That's why
It's R,
it's
and
R
there was
there's
no boobs.
Yeah.
That pisses me off even more.
Well, it's the 90s. We're more progressive.
Yeah.
We're not just a bunch of Sharon Stones getting our titties out.
I guess that's true.
I
I don't know. There's plenty of nudity in other 90s. I mean, that bothered me about I Know What You Did Last Summer, because they kind of hinted towards it a bunch of times with Love Hewitt possibly falling out of her shirt. It just never happens. She walks around with like her cleavage was in the credits, like it says cleavage was a character in the movie. Like, it's ridiculous.
She had like 2 cleavage assistants, just to be
Yeah.
sure, credited in the special thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
That was
like
fun.
I Know What You Did Last Summer. I tried. I came in fresh, open mind. I missed it when I was a kid. It's just never one I saw. And it was a pale comparison to this movie.
Yeah, I liked it back then, but now watching it, it's meh. But back then I liked it because it had 2 of my favorite girls of the time. I mean, they were both kind of...
I was going to play a joke on you guys and tell you that I watched Scary Movie.
That actually would have been really funny.
What is that?
It's like, yeah, Scream's okay. I thought the Wayans guy was pretty funny. What? Uh-oh.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
sorry guys. I think I rented the wrong screen.
Hold on, guys.
He's going to pop it. Oh, it's party time.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Speaking of party time, I had to pause the movie at one point to take care of something with the kids. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm about 5 minutes in. Cool, we're rolling. I'll pause it. I was 25 minutes into the movie. This movie flies by.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel. Good stuff.
Well, they do a good job at like teasing you. Like, those kind of movies where you're like, oh, I'll just watch this scene and turn it off.
Yeah.
Oh, like My Cousin Vinny for me is like that. I wind up watching that whole movie no matter what part it is when I turn it on.
Because you just want to watch that scene.
Yeah, you just want to watch that scene, and before you know it, you watch half the movie.
Yeah.
And that's this movie, definitely.
I actually thought, like, how, most of the action in these movies happens in the last, 20 minutes. I was thinking, okay, well, this movie's about to get rolling. Like, it's about to start, unfolding, like I think it's going to. There was still an hour left. And I was like, well, I guess this is not going to play out the way I thought it was going to. Not that I thought it moved slow. It didn't. It was just like... I was thinking, wow, this is going to be a really short movie, and then I looked and I was like, oh, it's
Well, you
an
felt
hour
that way
left.
because they already killed Drew Barrymore in the first 5 minutes. So
No. I was like, I forget what part I was at. It was right in the middle, and I was like, oh, it's got another hour.
Well, and if you're paced with the expectation of an 80-minute movie, like so many of those 80s ones,
I was.
and then this movie does turn out that extra 20 minutes or whatever. Yeah. No, they got you.
Yeah.
They got you, man.
They did.
Gotcha. Be right back.
Oh, God. I still, all the time.
Every time you leave a room now, you're going to say that.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Ooh. God. I do. All the stuff with Nev Campbell and Billy.
Yeah.
I don't find that part, any of it, enjoyable to watch. It's just broken people being broken for the sake of being broken. I don't know. For some reason, that dynamic just doesn't work for me anymore. I just can't watch it without being like, okay, get on with the scene, okay, blah, blah, blah. And all that, like, the reference to some pornos or whatever, and that's the way she proposes. They, gross.
Yeah.
Ugh. Film school. There's your film school, like, shortcoming, right? Like, we're not quite ready for Dawson's Creek yet, Kevin.
They had something to say. It's kind of like Rambo. Name it.
Name it, name it,
Name it, name it, name
I
it.
was talking to a buddy of mine, Marcel, who is a listener of the show, and he's not from America. He's from Holland.
Okay.
And he, for his whole life, thought that when Rambo said, name it, he thought that he was saying demons.
Huh.
I like that so much more. Like,
Yeah.
call the Rambo folks. Hunting demons with a hunting knife? Like, that's way cooler than...
Wow, get that
name
edited
it.
for the 4K.
Demons.
Demons.
So I went and
demons,
listened, and I was like,
demons,
man, I don't hear it because I'm a native speaker and he's, not. But to a non-native speaker, it sounded like demons, and that's way cooler. So, Marcel, good call, man.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's heavy.
Marcel's a mutual friend.
He's a good dude.
Yeah,
He's a
he's evolved.
Great taste
He's
in
doing the thing.
guitar
And
stuff.
Kevin Harrington's listening. That's so cool.
Kevin.
Kevin.
Anyway.
I know you had a problem with the way they were doing that, but with these two characters, because it is so like uncomfortable to watch. But it makes the end pay off. Like when he talks about, there's no motive. You don't need a motive. Did Hannibal Lecter have a motive? And then he switches it on or says, how's this for motive?
Yeah.
And then you're like, fuck. Like, that's messed up.
He still could have done that without all the weird porno talk
Yeah, but I think,
and all the underwear rule stuff. I didn't need that.
yeah, it was lazy in a way to try to point out the fact that his whole goal was to not make her not qualify as a final girl. Like, he just wanted to get to her virginity.
To wreck her.
Yeah, it was the way he was going to wreck her.
See, and that's the thing. I think this is a case where a movie is written by a man trying to, like, tell the story of a woman's trauma without bothering to, like, talk to women
Right.
who've had trauma. So instead you just get this weird kind of male perspective, like, she's got an underwear rule. She's going to talk about porno, and that means I can bang her. Like, that's not how girls think or talk. But Kevo forgot to ask girls how they talk. Or maybe talk to some women. Maybe that would have helped.
No, sometimes that's what works in Hollywood.
We're both making that face.
Yeah, maybe don't talk to women. No, but that's the thing. That so many of these movies are just, men putting words into women's mouths. And I think this movie suffers from that quite a bit with the perspective of Neve Campbell's character.
Yeah.
I didn't see it before, but kind of see it now.
I mean, she's kind of the lily white, sheet in a neighborhood full of assholes and heathens, and like she's just totally above. They're all normal, everyday people, and she's supposedly above all that, and then she kind of gives in.
And is she above all that because her mom got killed, or is she just above all that and is, like, fighting against, like, the coming onslaught of the demons because her mom got killed? Like, there's a story to tell there. And I think it's really unique to have the killer be involved in such a way that he could disqualify her from being a final girl per the rules of the 80s, which don't apply anymore because it's the 90s. Like, all this stuff is there and could be manipulated in a good story. And I think it just falls short because he forgot to ask, like, for an outside voice. Yeah, like, how, just go to a woman writer and be like, how would you present Neve Campbell's side of this, Sydney's side? And just get some feedback and be like, oh, wow, that does sound really gross when I say it that way. And let me change that dialogue here.
Yeah, because, I mean, she could be avoiding it because she knew that her mother was raped. That's never even...
Well, she does say that she doesn't want to end up like her mother.
Right.
Or, like, not I don't know, I forget how exactly she said it, but I think she said basically like she realizes that her mother was like, not what she thought she was. That she
Yeah.
was easy basically, and she didn't want to be that way. Which I relate to that, but also I'm a man.
Right.
Like there's certain things where I'm like, growing up where I was like, I'm not going to be that way. I look at someone that's older than me and be like, I'm not going to be like that.
So does that mean she was believing the rumors, or she just
Sure.
knew that about her mother?
She knew it, but she didn't want to admit it.
But why don't they ever show that
think.
she knew it? Like, I would be really interested to see a Sydney who's aware of her mother's shortcomings and actively trying to avoid those shortcomings. And instead you get this Sydney who just doesn't seem to be aware of it until a man tells her that her mom was a slut. Like, that's a weird thing. Like,
that would have been good character dynamic with her and her father if she knew her mother cheated on him.
and they had they had it out at some point.
Yeah, and maybe they had it out, and then she was killed, and they never reconciled.
Or even
That
just her
puts
and
you
her
in-
dad have a little,
Right.
stop covering for mom, that kind of thing. Doesn't even have to be it doesn't have to be malicious between father and daughter, but they could acknowledge the painful truth and then build from it instead of just being like, well, then mom died, but we're going to hint at it and now it's over. Oh, okay. Oh, by the way, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't take much to fix it,
No. We've talked about it on many movies where you take a minute here, a minute there, and you fix everything.
I got a question. At the end, they're calling from the father's cell phone, which makes him the prime suspect.
Mm-hmm.
The father hadn't left the house yet, if I recall correctly, at the time of the first murder. Drew Barrymore's murder.
They cloned his cell phone,
Cloned his phone. It's not his phone.
but it's just registered on the network as the same phone.
They cloned it?
They said so.
That's what they said.
Earlier in the movie, somebody asked, I think it's Dewey, is like, well, could they clone the cell phone? And then at the end of the movie, when they're putting the phone in the dad's pocket, they're like, cloned his phone, gonna fuck him here, and then put it in his phone. So,
Oh, they said cloned his phone. I don't know what I thought they said. I thought they might have said, like, copped his phone or something, like they stole it. Like, they were actually using his actual phone to make the calls. Like, they ran him off the road, tied him up, took his phone, made the calls.
Right.
But I was like, wait, the first call wasn't made with his phone.
Well, this whole plan is like two years in the making. So
This whole plan seems really unlikely to unfold any certain way from the beginning. Like, it kind of felt like, this couldn't have been the plan from the beginning. I feel like this is just two insane people flying by the seat of their pants, but also pretty smart and making the situation work out for them.
right.
Like, I don't think that this was the master plan when they killed her mother. Just they killed her mother and framed somebody. Now they're like, let's
yeah,
do
I
something
don't know.
else. Let's, fuck with her.
Hmm.
Kind of, you know what I mean? Like, they're kind of half flying by the seat of their pants and then half trying to cover up.
I love the fact that there's like super villain expose going on constantly in this movie. Like, they're just giving away everything. And then this is what we're gonna do.
there's an awful lot of monologuing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
I think that
it's very strange. Like, I mean, it's not a realistic plot, I guess. We could just,
Yeah.
we're not expecting, if we can deal with Jason being resurrected by lightning and underwater electricity, then maybe we can deal with
Tina's dad.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I mean, okay, fine. And I guess they do in the video store scene establish, or is it the high school scene? They establish that Drew Barrymore is the ex of one of the killers, and so there's like some motive there. But it does seem, the grandioseness of their plan seems both unlikely for the first-time offender. Like these guys, they have the skill and coordination of veteran murderers, and yet they're only on, kill number 3 or whatever.
I think when Drew Barrymore pulls the mask off of the ghost killer, her reaction should have been. I knew what they were doing there. Like it was almost like a, I know you. Like her reaction should have been more, I know you, because it was Stu that killed her, right? And that was her ex-boyfriend.
It was one of the two, right?
She knew him. She dated him.
Well, there was two of them, so it was one of the
Right.
two.
But I believe Stu did the. Oh no, he didn't, because he was with Tatum that night.
But if you notice, Billy goes over to
So it
to
was
Sydney's
Billy.
house that night too. Like they both they do a good job on the.
Mm-hmm.
They don't rub it in your face, but they do a good job of both of them having established an alibi after they'd done the killing, so they could say they were with their girlfriends.
Right.
If they're
so maybe they
questioned.
both were at the house. They both did it.
I imagine that's how they
Yeah.
operate
Yeah.
on all.
I mean,
these.
think about it. Which door am I at?
He's
Yeah.
at both. Oh shit!
Right.
Which door am I at?
You know what this movie gave me today more than it had before, and I guess I don't know if I've seen this movie since like '96. Like I remember liking it, and it's not a rewatch for me, but maybe it should be. But I was getting serious Columbine vibes.
Oh,
Yeah, a little bit.
Ew.
yeah.
But not. I didn't think about that when I was watching it, but now that you mention it, it is that time frame.
Yeah, it's just a couple of years before. You got the two kind of
Yeah.
creepy dudes, and the one who's a little like, especially in that last scene, you see who's the dominant party and who's kind of the follower. You know, which is very much how those two were described.
Yo, when he's describing what he's gonna say to the cops when they get there, and he's like, "I'm just like impressionable, or I'm like
Peer pressure.
yeah, peer
Far
pressure. I'm
too
like sensitive."
Right.
I was like, "Yeah, that's hilarious."
Apparently, when he yells, "You hit me with the phone, you dig," that's improv,
That's pretty funny.
which
That's
makes
funny.
it even better.
That's good.
Cut me, man. I'm bleeding. He kind of had like that Hudson from Aliens.
Yes.
Cut me,
Game
dude,
over, man.
please. Game over, man. Yeah, there's so many references in this movie. I don't even know if they were all done on purpose.
Probably.
Like even I guess because of Dan, the very beginning, before he even makes the phone call to her, they cut to the exterior of the house, and you get that lone swing making that creaking sound.
Mm-hmm.
The house is lit up. Just it reminded me of what was it? Blood and Black Lace. I think opens with that.
Yep.
So yeah, I would have never known that.
And if you watch Tenebrae at some point, one of the houses featured in Tenebrae kind of gives me the same vibe as her house at the beginning, Drew Barrymore's.
Gotcha.
I've been seeing a lot of Tenebrae around. I don't know why.
Tinted Debray.
Because
Like on my social media and stuff.
it's amazing, and you guys got to watch it. It's going to be so much fun.
I think it's because like since I started this podcast, like I've kind of like gotten into some movie circles, and like now like Tenebrae's popping up everywhere. I have to watch it before it gets spoiled.
Maybe Facebook is listening to our podcast and they're just kind of sending you
Possibly.
ads.
I was watching Village of the Damned today. Have you ever seen that, Travis?
The original?
The 90s Carpenter one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Second Kirstie Alley movie I've seen this week. Very weird. Hadn't seen her in anything in 20 years, and now she's in 2 movies. At one point,
Yeah.
she quotes from Sherlock Holmes. And the quote that she says is the exact quote that pops up in Tenebrae. So my Tenebrae ears popped up. I was like, oh, that's fun.
Yeah, I'm watching Tenebrae this week.
Yeah, man. If you want to talk about it, we can make a little bonus feature. 'Cause
Sure.
I don't know if we need to do a whole episode. We got kind of a syllabus here we're trying to stick to, but we could do a little bonus episode, throw it out after this one.
So, other than Linda Blair and Wes Craven and Fonzie's leather jacket, what other cameos are there in this movie? Or is that it?
Those were the big ones that I caught. I'm looking to see if anybody is like uncredited or anything. So, wow, Henry Winkler is uncredited.
Really?
Yeah.
He put a hell of a performance out there. Like he was acting the shit out of that movie.
If I remember right, this was like his comeback.
Uncredited? What does that mean?
Like he's not listed. If you look at the credits to the movie, it doesn't say principal played by Henry Winkler.
Right.
So it's like a surprise, probably to keep it out of the variety magazines and stuff.
No.
If he's not listed, you
Word.
don't know he's in there. Same way that they top bill Drew Barrymore.
Right.
It's just another move
Right.
like that.
Interesting.
Yeah,
He'll always be Fonzie to me.
same.
Always.
Although he's very
Yeah.
good on that show. Barry is the name of the show. And so Barry is a hitman who's also in an acting class. And his acting teacher, at least in the first season, is Henry Winkler.
Yeah.
So
I
he's
need
around
to get,
still.
I need to get HBO Max.
Yes, you do. Just for Westworld.
It's like the only television that's worth watching.
Well,
HBO. It's like HBO, if you want to sponsor our podcast.
no. Hey. What is that a month, by the way?
I have no
It's
idea.
like $15. It's not bad.
Well, we have Xfinity, and we got it we went on to HBO Max and logged in through Xfinity, so I don't even know if we're getting charged for it or not.
Although when something
find
is
out.
called Max, it makes me think like softcore porn.
Cinemax, yeah.
You know, when something says Max, I'm like, no suspect.
Dan, have you ever seen the movie Night Shift with Henry Winkler?
I have not. No, I was thinking of Night
And-
School. I have seen Night School, but I have not
Night
seen
School,
Night
yeah.
Shift.
Night Shift is Michael Keaton and Henry Winkler. And they start running a brothel out of a morgue in New York City.
What?
Whoa.
Hold on.
It's pretty good.
So
It's 80s. It's 80s. Definitely 80s. Like,
pre-Batman,
yes. It's like right after Mr. Mom.
directed by Ron Howard. What?
Yeah.
Oh man, putting this on the watch list.
Shelley Long, Henry Winkler. She's a prostitute. So you get Shelley Long from Cheers. Like, she's on Cheers when she makes this movie. She's playing a prostitute, and Michael Keaton is a hearse driver for the morgue, and they're working the night shift, and they realize they have all this time on their hands, so they start running a brothel out of
And Joe Spinell
That's-
pops up in it. Joe Spinell. Oh God, I'm in. I'm watching this movie this
Yeah.
week.
Yeah, watch it. I don't remember. It's a classic, but I don't know if it's like, the kind of nostalgic Travis saying it's a classic. But like that and Money Pit, like all those movies came out at the same time.
Money Pit.
Mr. Mom.
Money Pit might be the reason why I still live in an apartment.
My brother does that laugh all the time when the tub falls through the floor. It's so obnoxious. But it's perfect.
Well, I'm checking out
I'm in.
Night Shift. That looks like fun.
Yeah, do it. It's one of Keaton's best things, I think.
It's one of Keaton's best things.
Well, I don't want to say performances because it's really not a performance.
Things.
But it's like,
You
the
know,
thing.
the thing.
You know, the thing.
I don't know, things. Stuff.
Things and stuff. Like you said, the last half hour, that genius idea to have the delay on the camera that they put in the house.
Yeah.
Well, and that
And-
Jamie, he's behind you, Jamie.
Yeah.
Where the
it's-
guy who's playing that character's name is Jamie. I mean, that's
Right.
that's
In real
meta
life.
on top of meta. I love that.
It's
Yeah, it's-
meta.
Ugh, it's so good. I just couldn't not see. I could not see the out of sequence Halloween movie. It was bothering the shit out of me.
Yeah.
It's like, damn. Like he even shows him stab the boyfriend against the wall, and then he pauses it with the knife out again. I'm like, he doesn't double stab him. They go get my beer, boyfriend.
But it's a
Mm.
cooler image, man. You got to
I
serve the movie
know.
you're making, not the movie you're showing in the background. But it's a good flick.
I love that at the end he's like, I'm like never been so thankful to be a virgin.
Mm.
Oh, that was such a good line.
Like, you would be.
He's actually doing some good stuff in that movie too.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
Gabe, not even knowing who Jerry Lewis is,
I don't know who Jerry Lewis is.
has no reference to Jerry Lewis. But that
I don't have any
right.
reference for Jerry Lewis.
Well, he rewound that park scene 3 times because he loved when he was like, Did you put her liver in the mailbox?
Yeah.
Like, he had no idea that he's doing Jerry Lewis. It was just funny to him. He had no frame of reference for it whatsoever.
The bit remains hilarious.
Yes.
So you like Scream, George?
I do, man.
Kind of scary, right?
A little bit.
We're gonna
Little bit.
We're gonna find the one that
It's
really
nuanced.
gives you
It's got
the heebie-jeebies. I think we're working our way toward. I've got a couple in mind now that I know that Scream kind of did it. I got some other ones in mind.
It's not quite this one. This was good. It was a little bit scary, like a little bit unsettling. It had a formula, but it bucked the formula. It had lots of fan service and homages and stuff that I get because of you guys.
right.
You're welcome.
It was a good, good
Now,
movie to build up to.
would you have enjoyed it if you didn't have all that background?
Maybe, but not as much.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we do what we do. Well, Travis, I think we've come to that part of the show where I ask you to put on a really bedazzled, sparkly jacket and stand in front of the display to show him what he's got coming up next time.
Well, Johnny, we're going to stay on the same highway but change lanes a little bit.
Ooh.
Okay.
We are going to go back to a classic film, black and white.
Black and white
Okay.
alert. Black and white alert. Prepare your expectations.
Last time you watched the black and white movie, you loved
It
it.
was Clerks, I thought.
Oh, yeah. All right, the other one.
Psycho.
Psycho. We will be watching George Romero's
Ooh.
Night of the Living Dead.
Stop it.
Night of the Living Dead.
I really don't know anything about this movie except for that you guys talk about it all the time.
Yay. That's all we're going to say because
And that it's black and white.
it's black and white.
Cool.
Be warned, it's black and white, but it's still good.
That's fine.
But not because it's old. It's purposely done in black and white.
Cool.
Right?
I love it.
It's kind of like
Psycho
Psycho was, where, yeah. Like Clerks. But with better acting?
No, it can't be like Clerks. Travis likes it.
Oh, God. It's also public domain because they forgot to put the
Yes.
copyright disclaimer on the first frame. And so, anybody that wants to release it can release it.
Nice.
If I
have,
understand copyright law correctly, which I don't.
This I have about 19 copies of.
Very good.
Because every time I see it, I'm like, oh, I'll buy it. What the hell? That cover's cool. Yeah. Because it's basically free. It doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah, buy another one.
Buy another
Sure.
one. Get rid of that one. Keep this one.
All right, well, then I'll take a copy then.
Yes, you will.
Cool.
That you will not have to watch on here. I have plenty.
I won't have to pay for it on Amazon. If Amazon wants to sponsor the podcast, no, it's fine.
You just
Or
be
maybe
giving
not. I
yourself
don't
your
know.
money back is all.
Kind of.
And that's okay. The company store and such. Thank you for joining us on the Remedial Film Class Podcast. As always, you can find us at facebook.com/remedialfilmpod, or you can join the Extra Credit discussion group on Facebook by going to groups/remedialfilmpod. Also, Twitter and Instagram at remedialfilmpod, and heck, Gmail, remedialfilmpod@gmail.com. We'll see you back in 2 weeks for Night of the Living Dead. They're coming for you, Barbara.
Should George watch Scream 2?
Did Scream need a sequel? Not counting box office and money. Did the story need to continue?
I like what they did with it, but it's not necessary, if that makes sense. They at least did something different.
It was better than I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
Okay.
I would say that.
It was better than all the Friday 13ths.
Whoa!
After 6.
Whoa!
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Nope. Mm-mm.
All right,
Except for the remake.
It was way better than part 8, 9, and 10.
Disagree.
Yes.
The reboot, Jason, was good.
Oh, well, yeah. I don't put that in the same trilogy or the same
It's not.
genre.
Yeah, it's
What do you
different.
call it? The same saga. That's on its own.
It stands on its
Yeah.
own, yes.
They keep saying, "Oh, well, that's the 11th movie," and they're trying to build it to 13. I'm like, no, it's its own thing.
It's really looking
It's-
like Halloween is going to get 13 movies before Jason gets 13 movies. That's pretty funny.
There's another lawsuit.
Hey, guys, let's visualize it real quick. It's October of 21. We've all had vaccines. We can go out in public and fly on planes, and my ass is in New Jersey watching Halloween Kills.
Good shit.
I hope that happens.
Wouldn't that be great?
I cannot wait to go to Crystal Lake Diner with you and then go trick-or-treating in Haddonfield.
I hope that happens. I mean, I really hope 2020 or 2021 plays out that way. I really do. I don't know if it will, but I hope it does.
Hope is all we have. And movies. We have hope in movies.